This, amazingly, this is ground zero for waterfowl up here. And, if you don't protect this, you're not going to have ducks anywhere. I mean, you're going to have a few in California and a few else, but this is where this is ground zero. And so it's vital that you protect this stuff. No matter how you slice and dice it, DU and others are working like crazy to protect habitat. Net, we're still going to lose habitat. So you got to protect the best stuff that's remaining and then make that even more productive.
The Prairie Pothole Region is really the sweet sauce for waterfowl. You have this area with millions of small, shallow depressional wetlands that provide the food and forage and habitat that ducks need to come here and to start the nesting cycle and the breeding season. So it all comes down to waterfowl production. So of course we have all of these wetlands and grasslands in an agricultural region that can cause a lot of concerns for people that are trying to make a living on these same lands. So we try to work with producers to find some common ground in ways that we can farm these areas, ranch in these areas in ways that's going to keep these wetlands intact and on the landscape as well.
So regenerative agriculture is a simplistic view of being able to incorporate livestock back on your soil, which the prairie soils are the most biologically diverse soils on the planet. And that's how these soils evolved, is having bison and elk and everything on them. So by putting livestock on the landscape and incorporating cover crops, we're getting back to that. We're regenerating the soil, we're regenerating that system.
Yeah, so 90% of the ground in South Dakota is privately owned. So Ducks Unlimited saw that and then decided to help these landowners on their private ground because ultimately they are the ones raising waterfowl for future generations. So with that being said, we help them with the infrastructure to facilitate grassland and wetland management and enhancements. So, we help them with the idea that they're going to be better managing the grasses and the wetlands out in the landscape. So in return, we get the benefit for the wetland management and the waterfowl quality and quantity that we're producing on the landscape.
In the ag community, wetland can be seen as a nuisance area and basically land that they can't make any money off of. So how do you start a conversation with somebody that says, hey, there is value in those landscapes as well? We try to provide options to help integrate those habitats into their farming and ranching scheme. And one of the best ways we can do that is working with ranchers and enhancing their livestock capabilities. Those small, shallow wetlands can also provide forage that's valuable from a ranching perspective instead of in a cropping system. So if we can take some of those marginally productive cropland acres and restore them to grass and use it in a grazing system, it can provide income for that producer and raise ducks at the same time.
Farmers truly are the caretakers of the land. And, if DU is able to assist them in some sort of light in managing their ground in a way that fits their operation best and also meets our goals, DU is there for that. So whether that be technical or financial assistance, something is available to assist producers out in the landscape, especially here in South Dakota, and one of the most important regions for breeding waterfowl.
Working with these landowners is important to me because I'm a sportsman, and having healthy places to duck hunt and more ducks, and it's not only just ducks, it's pheasants, it's songbirds, it's butterflies and insects, and so that's part of my lifestyle. So it's recreational opportunities. It's critically important that we all work together in the name of conservation to focus on our goals, because if we're achieving our goals, there's a whole lot of health, well-being, and so on as a society as a whole.
You know, the bottom line is that most of the ducks are produced on private land. And you got to find a way to have conservation organizations like DU work with landowners to make it a win-win. Work with them, figure it out. It's not necessarily going to be easy, and the answers aren't going to stare you in the face sometimes. But it's vital for the long term of it. And I think identifying what you really need to do in the overall picture of things is, you know, that's key. That's where you start. And you know, DU's is figuring that out.
You know, DU is supported by, you know, over 700,000 members, a million various supporters across the U.S. and it's a really volunteer-led organization. You know, our board is comprised of volunteers. The combination of working with private supporters like the Dales and then leveraging that seed money to match that with public grants, that's really the engine that drives Ducks Unlimited's conservation programs.
What I did, I specified certain charities and certain groups right in my will, in my trust. And DU is prominent amongst those. And it's cast in stone, and nobody's going to be able to mess with it. And you know, there's a balancing act between what you give up front versus what you give as a legacy. And I've stepped up more up front over the last few years because, I mean, once these opportunities are gone, if the land has changed, you're not going to get it back. I like DU because it's science-driven. It's amazing. Even now, there's a lot more that we don't know than know. And you know, if you go off half-cocked without the science behind you, you're going to spin your wheels and probably do more harm than good. They're a good organization. They work with duck hunters. They're not afraid to stand up for hunting. And so I've been a big supporter, and you know, I gave them what I could when I was a kid, and now I can give them more, and I'm glad I can.
This is Ducks Unlimited's highest priority region in the entire continent of North America. And so we're laser focused on doing as much as we can, as fast as we can here in terms of conservation delivery. You know, time is against us. You know, time is not on our side. We have some serious and urgent conservation needs here, and frankly, we need to do more faster. And so that's why, you know, generous folks like the Dales have decided to not only step up their giving now, but also leave a significant legacy gift in the future. And so, you know, we've got a lot of work to do, and the time is now to ramp up our conservation efforts.